Welcome to the channel, guys. So today we're going to talk about the importance of training tendons and how tendon strength is often overlooked when comparing muscular strength and muscular hypertrophy to that of the tendon in the gym. Now, a common misconception we have here is that the muscle is greater than the tendon. Now, this is kind of what I was just hitting on. People go to the gym, they want big muscles, they don't think about tendons. Tendons don't look big, but they protect and they enhance our strength. So we have to get this notion here. Wipe it right out of your mind. Now, what tendons do bring to the table, athletic potential as well as overall strength. Tendons greatly contribute to the bounciness we have during athletics, whether it be running, jumping, and they heavily contribute to our overall strength as our whole body is a system of pulleys, and those pulleys are made of bone to tendon to muscle. And those tendons are what the muscles pull on to move the bones. So ensuring their strength is very important when it comes to the strength of our whole body. Now, another one of the very important reasons why we train tendons is to avoid tendon injuries. Now, the goal is to avoid through strengthening the tendons. So we have two different kinds of tendon injuries that fall under tendinopathy. The first one is tendinosis, and the second one is tendinitis. Now, tendinitis is more of a immediate, acute kind of injury, like maybe a sprained ankle. Usually less damage done to the area, to the tendon, and we can expect a healing time of 1 to 3 days, where tendinosis is more of a long-term injury due to several different things happening over a long amount of time. This could be tennis elbow, this could be an Achilles strain, a severe one, or a hamstring strain, a severe one, whereas when we think of tendinitis, we think of something a little less severe. Tendinosis is something a little more severe. That's more. So obviously we want to be careful when it comes to that. And next we're going to talk about how we can train to help prevent injuries like this. Now, when it comes to strengthening tendons 101, we have a few different things that come to mind immediately that are the go-to methods currently. First and foremost, I want to point out right here, this little illustration, tendons plus time. Tendons love time. If we want to strengthen the tendon, most of the time what we need is time under tension, so then we can stimulate collagen synthesis in those tendons to strengthen and make them more rigid and stiff. Now, different ways we can do that. Isometric strengthening, that could be any held position, whether it be a wall squat, just body weight, or any calf raise. We can do that to strengthen the different areas like the Achilles tendon or the patellar tendon, both very important and very crucial in athletic performance. We also can focus on heavy eccentrics here. These are very important as well. This can be anywhere from 70% of your 1 rep max, a little bit more, just really emphasizing the slow eccentric on a bench or a slow eccentric on a squat can make a huge difference in the synthesis of collagen. Now, it's important to consider that we need to progressively overload the tendons like we would any other muscle in the body. And furthermore, we can incorporate plyometrics for more advanced lifters so we can further enhance the amount of load placed on the tendons. By enhancing the load on the tendons, we can once again enhance the rigidity and lead to more collagen synthesis. It's very important that if you haven't been training your tendons, that you take the time to build up to all of these gradually and start with lower numbers, lower time under tension, lower weight before you decide to progressively overload and find what area works best for you. Now, another very important point I'd like to make is that tendons take longer to heal than muscles do. That's why they're often injured more often than muscles. We have a time frame of 48 to 72 hours. We should wait in between training our tendons. So after a heavy plyometric workout day, 48 to 72 hours would be a safe time to wait. Similarly, any isometric or heavy eccentrics that you dive into extensively, it would be wise to wait a while before getting back into them again continuing to strengthen. Now, if you look at this little guy I drew down here, he's just so happy to be here. He's sitting out in the grass and the sun is shining down on his skin, and he's just happy to be there because he is supplementing collagen. Now, can supplementation help collagen synthesis in the tendons and help strengthen your tendons? Some studies show, yes, that consuming collagen as a dietary supplement in tandem with vitamin C can help collagen synthesis in the long run. So when you work out, when you go progressively overload your lifts, your long eccentrics, your plyometrics, and your isometrics, yes, having more collagen from supplementation can help heal faster and strengthen those tendons. Now, another idea I'd like to mix in for some sort of athletic performance would be Hooke's Law. Now, anyone familiar with physics or some of the physics theories and understandings will know that Hooke's Law is the relationship between the spring constant and the amount that spring is stretched. We can parallel this idea with different areas in the bodies with both the muscles and the tendons. This is another reason why tendons are so important on transferring the force of the muscles onto the bones of the body and moving those levers. Here I have illustrated an example. Here is the gastrocnemius and the soleus muscles, and here is my Achilles tendon leading down to attach to the calcaneus here, the heel. So the more that we are able to stretch this, the more force we can generate. However, the force generated also includes K, our spring constant. Now, our spring constant is how stiff is the spring that is in use. Now, we've talked about how we can stiffen and strengthen the tendons in our body through different exercises, and this is just another illustration of how that is most effective. So this here being what is pulled down, and then the constant of the spring K affecting the force that's generated after the stretch. Now, as we begin to wrap things up, I just wanted to kind of refresh everyone why we should be keeping tendons in mind as we go out and do our training. Now, tendons contribute to injury prevention. The strength of them can help dictate how likely you are to be injured during ballistic movements or normal movements every day. Second, we have athletic performance. The bouncier we are, the more we can use Hooke's Law to our advantage in our jumping, our sprinting, and any other athletic movements, our cuts, our turns. The more athletic, the more successful we can be out on the court, the field, the track, etc. Now, we also have improved strength because of the more efficient force exerted on the bone from the muscle. Let me remind you that that tendon is our bridge between the two, and the stronger our bridge, the more effective the communication between the muscle and the bone. Now, finally, it just leads to a more cohesive, athletic body that is more resilient to all types of exercise and movement, and will serve to be the most longevity-based practices there are. Now, you're probably wondering, what is this bird doing here? This bird here, the early bird gets the worm, but not just the worm. The worm is not always guaranteed to the early bird, but the early bird that gets there and he flips over all the rocks and takes advantage of all of his opportunities is the one that first finds the worm. This is that early bird. You can be that early bird too by starting to train your tendons, but also by subscribing to the Jacob Murtis YouTube channel to find more content just like this and enhance your training every day. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe. Have a good one.